Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chloe Asprey. I'm reporting for the University of Derby, and I'm here with the Royal British Legion talking to Darren about Remembrance Sunday and what it means to him. So, can you explain to me what the Royal British Legion are?
Okay, well, the Royal British Legion is an armed forces charity that was set up in 1921 because of all the injured people and families that had lost people during World War One. Bearing in mind then there was no welfare state, so you didn't have universal credits, housing benefit, council tax benefit. People couldn't pay the bill. They were literally kicked out of the streets because they had no housing rights. A lot of them lost their jobs because they weren't fit to go back to their job due to illnesses such as shell shock, for instance. So 4 smaller charities that were advocating on behalf of the armed forces community grouped together to form the Royal British Legion in 1921. The Legion is very different to what it was then, in as much that now we advocate on behalf of the beneficiary. Where under the old system, if someone came to us, say for instance they wanted a fridge, we would give them a fridge. We don't do that anymore, not under that guise. What we do is we find out why they haven't got a fridge. So from that we find out they've not got a fridge because they're not working. They're not working, for example, because they've lost a job. They've lost a job because they're not sleeping, and they're not sleeping because they've got PTSD. So from them few questions, we then are able to refer them to combat stress or the NHS, who's got a specific veterans programme that can help them, to help with the mental health. We can then get them in touch with the Royal British Legion Industries that can help people become job ready and build their confidence up again. We can then use Civvy Street, who will pay for employment support grants to help them get educational certificates such as a gas engineer certificate. Big organisations such as Marks and Spencer's regularly go to Civvy Street and say, right, we need 10 people that are ex-service. So they'll go to them. So we were able to offer them employment through that scheme. We're also then able to maximise their income because we find they're not claiming the right benefits. They're not claiming the war pension, for instance, or they're not on personal independence payments. We've got our own benefit specialist that will deal with that, also priority debt. So they'll help them with that and we'll pay off their priority debt. All they have to do basically is serve 7 days. So as long as they've earned 7 days pay, they're eligible for our assistance.
So why did you decide that you wanted to work for the Royal British Legion?
Well, I left the RAF with no problems whatsoever, so no injuries, no mental health problems. So I had a normal time in this service, came out, not an issue. Due to life events and the breakdown in my marriage and losing a child, my marriage broke up and I ended up having a breakdown. Didn't know who to approach, didn't really know that much about the Royal British Legion then, and I ended up becoming homeless, living in the local woods for about 6 months. Due to a passerby who recognised me and knew I'd served, got in touch with the Royal British Legion. Within a couple of days I was put in temporary accommodation and then put in a purpose-built hostel, which was a brand new building, and then phased back into being able to support a tenancy. Then I was helped out with being able to get the education standard back up because I'd lost all my certificates, so I needed to try and gain them back. I was that grateful I became a volunteer. So for about 5 years I was helping out with a poppy pill. I was a poppy pill organiser. I was a branch officer at a local branch in Nottingham. I then became a county officer, so I became a county recruiting officer and a county youth officer. I was also, more importantly, what's called a volunteer caseworker, who will go out and actually gather all the information and fill out the application form for assistance from the beneficiaries. I excelled that well in that the area manager at the time, Paul Mullingardi, told me about some new jobs that were becoming available, and that was the advice and information officer. So I applied for the job, got that, and I've been doing that now for 5.5 years. So for me, I believe in what we do very strongly. I've got great empathy with the people that need help, and I want to be able to give them the help that got me back on track. So for me it's personal, but it's a passion as well. And I've recently now become a case officer, which means I'm actually going to be managing the cases and actually technically writing the checks to actually get the assistance to the people.
So in a few days it's Remembrance Sunday.
Yes.
What does Remembrance Sunday mean to you?
Remembrance, I've got probably a modern approach on that. It's a reflection of the sacrifice that was given during World War One, World War Two. It's not about glorifying war. It's about remembering the sorrow and the horror of that war, so we don't repeat history. We have to remember people didn't have a choice. If you didn't go when you were called up, you were either sent to prison, you could have been shot, you were a conscientious objector. The whole community saw you as an outcast. So very few people wanted to go down that route, so you didn't have a choice. Now you can go and sign on and they'll do a health check-in and make sure everything's okay. World War One, that didn't happen. That's why so many people under the age of 19 joined 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, and some of them, one 14-year-old that joined, after 2 years of being on the front, was suffering that bad. He deserted and he got shot, age 16. And I don't think we should forget that sacrifice, learn from it, but we should always be thankful that we've got our freedom.
Okay. Now is Chloe Asprey reporting for the University of Derby.